Hello and welcome to another episode of Yell Fire, conversations about the lie of white supremacy and how to fight it. I'm your host, Craig Pelkey Landis, just a random white dude doing what I can to join the fight. On May 14th, 2022, a domestic terrorist with white supremacist views came into a Tops grocery store in Buffalo, New York. He took the life of 10 people, including Geraldine Talley, the mother of my guest, Mark Talley. Since that horrible day, Mark has been advocating and speaking out, calling out the systemic racism at the root of hate crimes like the Buffalo shooting that are all too common. What I really appreciate about this conversation is that Mark roots this senseless act where it belongs, in the systems that perpetuate the racist animosity that this one individual acted upon. This was not the work of a crazed loner. It is the work of systems in which this one person learned to distrust and fear Black people out just trying to live their lives. So Mark is fighting back, teaching and speaking out so these systems of oppression and violence will crumble. Cool, cool. Well, Mark Talley, welcome to Yell Fire. So glad to have you here, and excited to talk to you and life experience.
Oh, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
So I want to acknowledge, as we are recording this, we've just last week was the anniversary of your mother's passing. She was one of 10 people uh, killed by a white supremacist at a Tops grocery store in her Buffalo, New York neighborhood. It was national news. So just want to acknowledge that. And also, you had a lot of choices in how to respond to this terrible event, this racist act of violence that impacted you directly. You lost a dear loved one. So, can you talk a little bit about what led you down this path of advocacy? You wrote a book about the experience, but now you're doing advocacy and speaking out and all around issues of anti-racism, confronting white supremacy, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about the path that you've taken in the last 3 years.
No, I felt that I really had no choice but other to go down in this path. Unfortunately, due to the hatred act and the senseless violence of, you know, racist domestic terrorism,
Hmm.
unfortunately disguised as a disclosure of, of personal and political opinion. And
Hmm.
that's what this hateful act was. And unfortunately, it claimed the life of my mother that day. So I
Yeah.
felt it was, either go crazy or do something about it. So I decided to start my own organization, spreading awareness, spreading light on systemic racism, socioeconomic inequality, to show how all of this, basically, the end result was 514. And unfortunately, since then, there's been countless other versions of
Hmm.
514s. Was the Uvalde shooting, or was the shooting, I believe, a couple weeks after 514, I believe, in Chicago.
Hmm.
We just had something recently in California with somebody once again going down rabbit holes, which messed up their mind. They decided it was immoral for people to conceive. And that led to them blowing up a fertility clinic. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, these these senseless acts of violence could easily be stopped if society had a conversation with itself, with how do people easily go online down these different social media chats. Was there 2chain, 4chain, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and they find people who think like them, but their thinking is so off kilter compared to what it should be.
Yeah. 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 Um, So tell me a little bit more about agents for advocacy, and you do a lot of speaking, and getting involved in a lot of different. I don't know if it's just local Buffalo organizations or if it's national organizations. Just uh, yeah, talk to us a little bit about that.
Mostly Buffalo. I'm trying to reach out to a few national things I done had, but still mostly Buffalo.
Okay,
Agents
cool.
for advocacy. It's like I said, we're just trying to spread awareness, shed a light on systemic racism, institution, socioeconomic inequality, so
Hmm.
foster a light that we believe in, which everyone should have the same opportunity to growing up, no matter what their skin color is, no matter what the environment is. We believe, as the saying go, everybody should start on first base as we're taught. But
Hmm.
growing up, you can easily see some people start on first base, some people start on third base. Some people are in the parking lot, and some people they're automatically already born in the clubhouse because they already passed home plate.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, I was kind of lurking around your LinkedIn feed, and I saw you spoke at a school recently, talking to kids about anti-racism and stuff. So I thought, oh, that's awesome. I imagine um, talking to kids is super fun, but also could be like for me, it would be a little stressful and you know, capturing your attention and getting them, focused on stuff. So, how was that particular experience, and how did you get involved in helping students understand some of this stuff?
That was amazing. That was my second time speaking in Erie County Community College. I've spoken with them, numerous
Mm.
other colleges and high schools in the area, and
Hmm.
they were having um, their first annual 514 event. I forgot the actual name, but in which the money and proceeds generated during that event will go towards their 514 legacy scholarship, which they
Oh,
would
great.
give to kids from the area in which the top tragedy happened.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to a bunch of the first event with them. I spoke to a lot of the students and faculty there. The second event I spoke to, no, mainly their donors, a bunch of powerful people in the
Hmm.
community. People with money to give and
Sure.
support the mission of ECC. So I was being honored with their Community Hero Award of the year,
Oh,
and
cool.
I'm glad they gave me the microphone to speak, say what's on my chest regarding 514
Hmm.
and everything afterwards.
Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 Yeah. Sorry, I thought I had it in my head that it was like with grade school kids, but yeah, that sounds maybe more that's an easier conversation with high school, college age kids. Um,
Actually, I did speak to Grace. There were two on my
oh,
link.
okay.
I spoke to one 2 weeks ago out in Brockton, New York, and that
Okay.
was with middle school to high
Oh,
school
okay.
students.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, well, I just applaud that because that's you know, having those conversations, um, with kids and young adults, that's really who, see the world and see what's happening and, don't always know what to do with that. So I think that's a great thing to be able to have those conversations. I have a niece and a nephew in Buffalo, so I know the area a little bit, and um, my wife's family's from upstate, from central New York. So I've been to Tops a couple of different Madison, and I think they're in Syracuse. My wife grew up in Syracuse. Anyway, um, kind of, I know that area and appreciate what you're doing there. It seems like Buffalo as a whole has been super supportive of your work. can you give us a couple of more examples, like besides the student talks that you have? What are some other examples of Buffalo coming together around 514?
Absolutely. Well, during every anniversary so far, we've definitely had a lot of community-based organizations
Hmm.
coming out on Jefferson to support the people in the area. And it's nice. It's definitely tremendous. It's nice seeing all the love from the community, from organizations, from city officials, and I definitely appreciate it. But unfortunately, the problem comes when that week is over, when it's no longer the week of 514 and it's the week of November 28th, then nobody can be seen, nobody can be found.
Hmm.
But all throughout the year, once again on a micro level, people in the area and the community, it's definitely a lot more love generated toward each other because it's a good chance they knew somebody who were in that tops that day who got out.
Hmm.
They knew one of the victims that day who died, or they've been to that tops, many a times, and that easily
Sure.
could have been them. So it's nice knowing how people in the city, you know, they can't necessarily 100% understand what you're going through, but they
Right.
can somewhat relate knowing that it's really not a far-fetched idea that it easily could have been them or someone who they know if they didn't already knew somebody in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I really appreciate that. Like when something like this happens, one response is to say, "Oh, this is a loner, a crazed loner that got out of hand." But I appreciate that you're framing this in a systemic racism framework. So um, you've experienced support, but I imagine uh, you know, living while black, you are experiencing hostility, but and as just by existing. But have you also experienced some hostility about your activism? Are there, uh, you know, has that happened, or have you steered clear of that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, in the very first year, I got sent Instagram messages saying, "Look, he's trying to profit off the
Mm.
deaths of people in tops,"
Hmm.
or he's trying to make money off of his mother's death, or he's trying to raise his voice and get some publicity off of this.
Hmm. Yeah.
Even now, people want you to be quiet and be humble instead of being abrasive and
Hmm.
being loud. And I mean, I love being unapologetically blunt, unapologetically black. I love going into rooms and seeing everybody afraid of they don't know what this person's about to say, but they have a history knowing me that I usually say stuff that's off the wall, off topic, but unfortunately everybody in the room knows it. Everybody's just
Hmm.
afraid to say it. And I like not being afraid to say what everybody already knows.
Well, that's awesome. That's one of the reasons I started this podcast to um yeah to work with people, to hear from people who are unapologetic, and to not I'm not the expert. I'm on the microphone listening to the experts, but I also want to be unapologetic about raising these issues. So that's the whole reason for Yell Fire. So that's exciting. This is kind of getting that up at the macro level. So, we're living in an era, white supremacy's been given a big thumbs up with the election of the current president. So, what is surprising or not surprising about the state that the U.S. is in?
I'll say it's surprising how even more dumb we are as a society. Like I didn't know we
Yeah.
were this dumb, but we're proving to even be dumber. And I mean, even relating to his like his I call it a false assassination. Like we haven't heard nothing more about the
Mm.
person who allegedly did this. It's like that news went away quickly.
Yeah.
And it's like even showing when it happened, how he was showing up the next day, there was no scar damage, no healing damage.
Hmm.
Like I immediately thought, no, this was fake. And I
Yeah.
commend him on it because no, he people forget he's been a reality TV star longer now than he's really been a businessman.
Yeah.
And it's like I was surprised. No, not that more national medias was calling like floating a possibility that this could be a stunt. And then you see people showing up with the ear patches on with the
Mm.
blood, kind of like
Yeah.
it was somebody else who I think did that prior in history. And it just makes you look back and I mean, I don't even feel sorry. I feel sorry for him. I don't even want to call them stupid. Like I feel sorry for how
Yeah.
stupid you are to believe this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like even in some of these highly Republican controlled states, how they're voting for him, knowing they're pushing his agendas, which he's saying is going to, lead you bankrupt.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like the funniest thing I saw so far, how showing how we originally went to war with the war with England for Tyrus on tea, and now we're
Yeah.
seem like we're happy having
Yeah.
Tyrus, and people trying to explain how this is good for the economy.
Yeah. 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 Yep. It's good for the billionaires, that's for sure. Well, this kind of leads me into the next question. So in my deep dive into fact checking and all that, into your background, I see you studied economics and urban planning, and I'm wondering how, if and how those disciplines inform your work. So. Yeah, that might be out of left field, but yeah, how does your those the a background in those learning about urban planning and economics, how does that inform what you're doing today?
Greatly. I mean, with urban planning, you basically learn how cities are designed and why they're meant to be designed a certain way. And obviously, with economics, is basically understanding how businesses make money.
Hmm.
And you combine them, you roughly get socioeconomics on a no on a poor man's level socioeconomics if you combine both.
Yeah.
And that's definitely helped me understand the whole city layout. It helps me understand how you know North Buffalo is continuously prosperous compared to the east side of Buffalo, compared to downtown Buffalo, which is supposed to be our CBD, which it really isn't, compared to the west side of Buffalo. And you can see how all of these areas, with the exception of East Buffalo, make their money, have their money, and make sure that the money stays in the community. But then when you go to, the east side of Buffalo, you see we don't really have anything owned by us for us. I mean, there's only one
Mm.
store that's supposed to populate 80% of all the African Americans who live east of Main Street, which represents east of Buffalo.
Mm.
No, we have one store, which was easy. Why the government that day wanted to kill the highest number of black people. It really wasn't hard for them to, scout around.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's you hear a lot about the demographics of Chicago and other big cities. And I was curious about it's this I'm here in Albuquerque, and there's similar urban planning and economics at work here, between largely white community and largely Hispanic communities. So yeah, that's uh that's how the world works, and that's what we're fighting against here. Um, what am I missing that you'd like to share? What else is happening? What's coming up that you'd like to share, or how can people support Agents for Advocacy or your work in other ways?
If you want to support us, feel free to like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure I'm missing one, but mainly Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Go to our website. You can subscribe to be on our email list for our upcoming newsletters. If you would like
Mhm.
to donate, you can donate to us at on Cash App and on Venmo, Tally AFA. You should see either a picture of my beautiful face or our logo pop up.
Cool, 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 cool. Alrighty, thanks so much for joining me here. Thank you to Mark Talley, our guest, and thank you for watching here. This is the first time we've recorded on and put things up on YouTube. So thank you for joining us. If you're here on YouTube, you can like and subscribe. Subscribe to the Substack, and please purchase Mark's book 514. The Day the Devil Came to Buffalo. Support his work. We'll put the links to all that stuff in the show notes and here on YouTube, if you're on YouTube. And so, again, thanks for joining us for Yell Fire.